going on, everybody? This is the PWZ podcast. I am Rick Del Santo, the professor, if you will, joining me, as always, on this wonderful Saturday afternoon. Showtime, Marcel Williams. What's going on?
What's going on? We here on December 3rd, Saturday. We are going to review the week of last week. Last Monday Raw, we had 3 hours, 3 good hours of Monday Night Raw. I would say good, okay. It's all right. And we will review some Dynamite and obviously last night's Smackdown. And for now on, as Rick may explain to you as I will, we go promote the whole week of professional wrestling because we have missed a lot of time with y'all people and probably lost a few subscribers. So we want to regain those subscribers and start reviewing the whole week of professional wrestling all in one take here, Saturday, 6:05.
There you go. We got so before we jump into Monday Night Raw, what's going on with yourself outside in your world of professional wrestling?
My world of professional wrestling is trying to recoup, trying to get better. Yeah. The lower back is still continuously to ache me. So sooner or later I get the results and I know what's up. But sooner or later I give the news what's going on. But I am here in the office to try to sit here and continue to do this podcast that I love to do as well and continue to review the sport of professional wrestling.
There you go. You're looking forward to getting in the ring at some point with Mr. Alan Compass and maybe sticking that crowbar somewhere.
Yeah, sooner or later, somebody will be seriously removing the crowbar out of some place that we do not want to scare the kids about.
There you go. Let's see what happened here. Actually, before we get into the WWE, let's say that the first 9 entrants into the Battle of Los Angeles has been announced out in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Looking forward to this. I do have the list here. I'm really looking forward to when this happens. Let's see. Hang on, is this it? Yep, it's taking place January 8th at the Globe Theater in Los Angeles. 7th and 8th at the Globe Theater in Los Angeles. Let's see. It's Michael Uko, Shun Skywalker, Masha Slamovich, Speedball Mike Bailey, Commander Alex Shelley, Jonathan Gresham, Titus Alexander, and Aramis. I don't know if I pronounced that properly, but the first 9 participants, and so I'm guessing that there's going to be more to come. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. If that streams live, sometimes it'll stream over on the High Spots Network. I'll check that out, or have to wait 8 months for the Blu-ray to come out.
Yeah, there's a lot of history with this event. This is like the biggest indie event on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, it's like one of the biggest ones yearly that's been happening for, I don't know, for well over 15 years, I think.
Yeah, you got like the who's who that ever competed in the Battle of Los Angeles. Like
absolutely.
Kevin Steen.
Yeah, there's
Kevin Owens. And Young Bucks. And
I think Omega was there once. Danielson was there. I mean, that's they brought in everybody.
Mm-hmm. So continue the tradition with new faces.
It seems like they don't run nearly as many shows as they used to. I think that probably since COVID, they'll run a few shows a year. But anytime they come out, I usually watch them and I thoroughly enjoy their events.
Yeah, it's going to be a big event for all the independent stars in the local area and nationwide, maybe even international. And speaking of international, obviously we got the Wrestle Kingdom coming up January 4th with the big match between Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega. First time ever.
That's going to be something else. I think we're going to we might have to actually sit down and talk about that event after probably the next day, because that stuff airs at like 1 or 2 in the morning. I'm not going live at like 5 in the morning. I'm sorry.
Exactly. I mean, we're committed, but we're not that committed. I need some sleep. And that's a long event. It's no longer 2 nights. You scrapped that. So now, it's going to be probably 5 hours.
Yeah.
The past events that have been one night been for like 5 hours.
It's probably the equivalent to WrestleMania over there in New Japan, like that as far as like the biggest show of the year.
Yes, it is.
Yep. Yep. All right. So I did hear some other stuff about Punk. Have you heard anything else?
It varies, man. I mean, ever since we did All Out a few, like almost a few weeks ago, there's been nothing but hearsay. You know, he's done with the business. He got, his dog got his tooth knocked out. Everything else is always some news every week. So it is, you know what? It's to the point now. At this point, we in December now. This happened what way in September.
Yeah,
So
something like that. Yeah.
to this point is whenever is whatever happens live on TV is whatever. That's the only way that I'm gonna confirm my news, right? Because like
Yep.
you just never know. News is always new news every day of what goes on with CM Punk and what doesn't.
I do want to. I'm going to read a quote from Meltzer that took place on Observer Radio. It said Punk, as of the weekend, was all still under contract to AEW and was being paid, and those close to him said the holdup is the holdup on his being released is all on the AEW side, but he's ready and willing to move on to the next project. I'm not quite certain what that is. Is that could that be the speculated WWE return, or could it just be something entirely different? Or my personal opinion, this is just a thought that I had that they could turn this into a story. Your thoughts?
Um, there's always been that wording in wrestling. What's best for business, right? I would think it's
Right.
best for business for him to come back and feud with the elite. But
Yes.
it got to be all hands on deck. So you got to put everything aside, be grown men, and do what's best for business. It would be a good time to see Kenny Omega versus CM Punk. It will be a great moment. It would sell tickets, or see the Young Bucks versus FTR, a big trios match between CM Punk and FTR versus the. Why not?
I think that it is very possible. Very possible. I know some people just think that he wants to they want to get rid of him. But I'm saying no. I don't think that that's necessarily, like you said, best for business. I think that it would be quite the wise decision if they did, if they could both, if it's a legit heat to begin with. Like you said, there's still a lot of speculation, but they could just go in, shake hands, and try to work. They could make them. They can make money off this. They can make a lot of money off this, I believe.
Yeah, they can, and like I said, I mean, we learned from Brett and Sean. All the heat was put aside, multi-million dollars off that just one feud,
Yeah.
or any other person that didn't like working with each other. It could have been some big money involved, but hopefully this get put aside and business come first, and everybody make the money that they need to make.
There's also been speculation on, or word rumor on, The Rock may or may not be returning at the Royal Rumble, and rumor is that it's just that, a rumor. And if anybody, it has been talked about with just a couple people backstage, and some people may know about it, but nobody else knows anything. So it's possible that it is, but it's being tightly kept under wraps that he would come in at number 30. What's your?
That's another situation where you just want to wait and see. It's
Yes.
big speculation. Everybody want to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, which I feel it
Yeah.
shouldn't even be for the championship. It should be just a
No,
regular singles match and just call it a day.
I don't think The Rock should just come in and get a title shot right off the rip, just like that. He's been gone for a number of years. So,
Yeah,
um,
and then
but I
then
do.
not only that too, like I be hearing these ideals because I watch PW Insider, I watch
Yep.
Silent Monster. Shout out to them and their ideals, but it's just ludicrous just because it's 2 nights. You should have Roman Reigns wrestle twice. He should wrestle The Rock the night before and then wrestle either Cody or whoever Vive for the championship. Whoever wins the Rumble that's too much. That's too much. truthfully, I feel like Bianca Belair should main event night one because she has tore it down for the last 2 years.
She absolutely has. Who would she go against? If I mean, obviously it's not built up just yet, but would it be Bailey? You think that feud's going to still continue by then?
Nah, I think my two picks is either Rhea Ripley
Okay.
or either Charlotte.
Okay. That makes sense. I haven't seen much of Charlotte as of late.
Yeah,
But yeah,
they had a classic early on in the year on Raw on an episode
yes,
of
they
Raw
did.
that probably everybody forgot about because we have so many of them. But they had a little classic in early on in the year, so I wouldn't mind seeing that WrestleMania between these two. Two of them are very athletic, very sports bound of what they did in their past, and I would look forward to those two going at it in a WrestleMania style match.
Now that you mentioned it, I think that if I remember correctly, that it's been talked about her and Rhea. If I remember correctly, being it's going to be built for WrestleMania as of probably start to build it up. I guess at the Royal Rumble, right? If they probably
Yeah,
have Rhea
I mean,
go over.
they done teased it a lot. I mean, they teased it on Raw like a few weeks ago where they went face to face in the back, and they even teased it out in the ring as well when they was building up to War Games.
Right.
So, I mean, there's so many different roads to go on and with WrestleMania. You could do Becky Lynch versus Rhea. You could do Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. You put Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. You could do you could do so many things with the women going forward to next year's WrestleMania. And there's a lot of time, a lot of space too. It's 2 nights, so
We've
you
got
could do so much.
4 months. We've got 4 months to build anything up as of right
Yes,
now. So
yes, you do.
it seems like it's so far away, but once January hits and the Rumble hits, it's not that far away. That goes by quick, and the build-ups go, so there's not nearly as much time as you may think.
And then now that you still got the question mark of Sasha.
Yes.
So it's so much going on within the and with the build up. The WrestleMania ticket sales are through the roof right now. They done sold almost 60,000 tickets each night, and still got more tickets to sell. So that was a big thing when the power switched over from Vince McMahon to Paul Levesque, and ticket sales has gone up lately.
Yeah. Well, he's doing something different. I mean, I'm not 100% convinced, but I am enjoying the product somewhat. I actually sat through a full 3 hours of Raw for the first time in quite some time.
Yeah, quite some time. Then like his pay per view record. I don't count SummerSlam. I really don't because that was already in the books already when
Yep.
the old man was in the seat. But the Castle event, Clash at the
Clash of the
Castle,
Castle.
Clash
Yep.
at the Castle, right?
Yeah.
Clash at the Castle was a great event. Then we had Extreme Rules, which was great. And then we just came off a hot Survivor Series War Game. So the streak continues.
Yeah.
Then we got the big Royal Rumble coming up January 28th in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome. And ticket sales is even through the roof with that one, with the biggest Royal Rumble gate ever.
Really? Wow. When we get closer, we're going to start doing our predictions. So as who may be the special appearances, and obviously as the matches get announced.
Absolutely. It's a big gap from now to the Rumble, which is a good thing, like the old days. So
Yeah.
so trust me, it's gonna be big Raws along the way to build up to a Rumble. So we may get some big main events along the way on Raw, and I like that. That's a good thing.
One more thing before we go switch over to Raw. Did you happen to see the Ricky Steamboat match last weekend?
I
believe it's
seen the
on Sunday.
clip of him doing the arm drag, and it looked like he still had it. He had it more better than Flair.
I will. Sorry, I watched the event. So I watched the event. I thought it was a really good event. The match itself, with him teaming with FTR, going against Nick Aldis, Brock Anderson, and Jay Lethal. Thank you very much. I'm sitting here drawing a blank, and it's Jay Lethal. But I thought it was a very good match, and I thought Steamboat was he 68, 69? He looked fantastic. He looked like Ricky Steamboat looked. He did not, and he did not. He was not slowed down. He looked in tremendous shape, and I thought that he really, really worked a really great match. And as you said, he looked way better than Flair.
Way better, way
Way
better,
better.
and I respect it. And he on Ricky Steamboat all you like, but he made the right decision not being in that Flair match,
Absolutely.
and I respect it because he did not want to look bad in that situation.
Yeah.
And whatever you think is good for business for yourself, that's not going to make you look bad. Take that chance because Ricky Steamboat did.
He came back. What? Yeah, it was probably what 2-3 months from the Flair match, and
Yeah.
had his own match and tag match. And I got to tell you, he looked fantastic. So I might just go watch it again after this. So, yep. Monday Night Raw. We open up with Becky Lynch coming out. Of course, she starts going through the crowd, talking to the crowd, yada yada, all that stuff. Interrupted by Bayley. She starts insulting Bob and the other such characters. I don't really have much else to say to this. I thought it was what it was. Come
To
on, man.
me, yeah, I mean, to me, it was different. You had
Yeah,
Becky Lynch come out and kind of tease us with that regular promo that happens every Monday. Every Monday has been a little bit different. They try to make it different where it's not a 20-minute promo, and I respect that. And this one was one of them where she went into the crowd and got the crowd invested as well, and continue to be. Can't get that word together because can't get that, but basically have them like in the program, so it don't be them in the ring sitting here doing this 20-minute promo. And
yep.
Becky Lynch know how to sit here and control that crowd while they on a live mic, and I respect that. And Bayley continues to insult anybody and everybody. But the only thing I will talk about is as we go along with this show with Raw, the effects that War Games put on the body of these competitors. They didn't sell it like nothing didn't happen. They sold it like something did happen. And that's the big change that I took from this Raw coming out from War Games.
It's a different era for sure. It's not the Vince era, so a lot of times these guys would come out like nothing had happened, unless it was
happened.
Yeah.
And then I like the brawl that happened after the promo. It got them going out into the concessions and doing all the extra shenanigans. So I really like this whole segment that for Raw to kick off.
It's an 8-person tag match. Rhea Ripley, Dominic, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor. Judgment Day, I should have just said. And with Mia Yim, AJ Styles, and the OC. What do you think of Mia Yim's new nickname, Meechin Mia Yim?
Yeah, we was like a little confused with the names here last week. It was mentioned Meechin is Meechin.
I think that's how you say it.
It was Meechin, and then all of a sudden it was Mia Yim. They dropped it, so now it's Meechin Mia Yim now, and I'll take that because everybody needs a gimmick name before their real name or whatever work name that they have. So I mess with it.
I realized I just messed up because it was originally Rhea versus Mia Yim, and then it turned into the 8-person tag match. Sorry,
yes, it did. It's okay.
Yeah.
I would have corrected you soon, but you just wanted my opinion on me.
It was a week away. I knew I was going to forget something. Or a week
but
ago.
It was a little teaser between Mia Yim versus Rhea Ripley, and sooner or later we gonna get that same. Like I said, we got time. We got a lot of time. We got all of the time. We can have 20 lunch breaks as we go into the Royal Rumble. So sooner or later we'll get the singles match between these two. But we ended up getting the 8-person tag team match. It would have been great if they sat there and did a traditional Survivor Series match because we didn't get the Survivor Series. But I'm not complaining about it.
I'm not complaining about it, but I always did enjoy the 8-man or 10-man elimination matches. I always enjoyed those. You know what I mean? As part of the Survivor Series, but to have them not there this year and have War Games, it was different, and I did enjoy that.
Yeah, it was. I know there's a lot of people because I listened to the PW Insider and they asked the question of should the Survivor Series name stay with the War Games because the tradition, because people was complaining that the tradition was always Survivor Series was the 8 person or the 10 person elimination match. Is you can't satisfy everybody. You can't.
And
I
don't
fully
forget
understand.
there was years when they didn't even have them at all.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that. There was years that they didn't have them. They didn't even have at least one and a
Yeah,
half, maybe not even a half of one. So, so it just everybody else going to have their complaints. I kind of feel like it was different. It was still had that Survivor Series feel because you every 3 minutes you had an advantage. That's
yeah,
still a part of the Survivor Series tradition. I
yep,
mean, even the 2002, you had Elimination Chamber that still had the same kind of the same rules as the War Games and Survivor Series together. So
right.
it's always going to be a complaint, and I enjoy the Survivor Series War Games. If they want to keep going forward with it, keep going forward with it.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it again next year.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And then not only that, like if they are going to still do this brand split thing, it would be great if they did the brand split in the War Games, have Raw versus SmackDown. It'd be
yep,
different. I know
yep,
this one was revolved around certain stories because we didn't want to keep doing this brand thing, which was mixed up in the first place. But
right.
next year may be a little bit different. We have Team Raw versus Team SmackDown and War Games. It'd be something different, just like the Rumble. But Judgment Day came out the winners again as they build to be this dominant group on Monday Night Raw.
Hey, this is the one-man gold mine, the one-man enterprise of professional wrestling and all entertainment, Flynn Hendricks. And you better believe when I'm looking for a good podcast to listen to, I go to my own. I go to the I Know You Hear Me podcast hosted by me, Flynn Hendricks. That is such a fresh perspective for how you should look at life, too. I love that. And then when I'm feeling spooky, I go to my other podcast, Tales from the Haunt, where myself, I want my head shoved inside a 15-pound silicone mask. More. I want to have a bucket of sweat coming off me at the end of the night than just Jeff.
Dogs don't lay eggs, Flynn.
I hate you so much. Talk to other scare actors about what it takes to get into the world of scare acting. So if you're curious about how people became professional wrestlers, actors, prioritized their mental health, became entrepreneurs, avoided burnout, or got into scare acting, you need to go check out I Know You Hear Me and Tales from the Haunt, available on all podcasting platforms. And I know you hear me.
Backstage, we had Byron Saxton interviewing Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins when says great to be back and how much he had changed since he was gone. Street Profits were back in business. Chad Gable came out and swooshed him. Swooshed him. Thank you. I'm having trouble pronouncing it. Gable called himself the best thing about Raw, and the show is better off without the Street Profits. Gable said Alpha Academy would put them back on the shelf for good. Dawkins called him Elf on the Shelf. Elf on the Shelf. The Prophet said they'd win because they want the smoke. I didn't hate that.
Yeah, the Street Profits are back. They're back on the Raw, back on the TV, and they got these entertaining promos that's building up to this tag team match that we got coming up between these two.
Then, of course, the Bloodline minus Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman had come out and were given a promo. When all of a sudden Kevin Owens' music hits, and he gave a little speech about not being mad at Sami Zayn for turning on him because he's done it before.
Mm-hmm.
He basically referred to them turning on each other back and forth for years and years on the independent scene. Basically, is what they were referring to, and then basically it set up a match for Owens and one of the Usos. I don't remember if it was Jimmy or Jay.
Jey Uso.
Jey Uso. Thank you. I still can't tell the two. I'm sorry, but yeah,
I can, but
one's got a mullet and the other one doesn't.
yeah, the one with the mullet is Jay.
Okay, gotcha.
I got you covered.
Right.
Now this segment was entertaining. You had Jey Uso reconfirm again, just like the hug that we seen at the Survivor Series, that they on the same page. They are the ones. But now they try to get the group hug with Solo Sokola. And obviously Kevin Owens come in there and interrupts. And then he just said point blank with a serious face, he don't want nothing to do with Sami Zayn no more. He don't want to drive with him. He don't want to room with him. He don't want to chill with him no more. But he did tell him after all the backstabs that he have done to Sami Zayn that at the end of the day, he's not the blood of the bloodline.
Right.
So you seen the face of Sami Zayn being disappointed, but he popped out of it and said that he is the bloodline. He is prime part of the bloodline.
So they're setting up. So they're setting up for Owens and Roman, I believe, at the Rumble. I think is that what they're setting it up for.
Yeah, for the third time.
Yeah, obviously, Roman's going to be walking away with that. I believe. I think that's going to be something to look forward to. I'm looking forward to the whole entire story, the setup for the entire month, 2 months really, till the Rumble. So
to the Rumble, Montreal, and with the Elimination Chamber, it's gonna be. This story has, as I watched the press conference the other night, this was supposed to be a little cameo for Sami Zayn, and this has turned into the biggest story in all of wrestling. So I'm so invested in this program.
Now, to get away from that, to talk about the Sami and the Usos, obviously Jimmy was the one that he had the problem with, I believe, right? So they embraced Monday night after proving himself. You could just see it, what's going to happen down the road, obviously. I'm wondering when and where that's actually going to take place.
Correction, Jey Uso. Jey Uso. I got like I said, I got you covered. Jey Uso has had the problem with him since, no point intended, day one with Sami Zayn, and now they together now. But the way I see it is, I'm just gonna put it out there, I can see the Usos, Solo, I can see them all like getting real close to Sami Zayn. Get so close where Sami Zayn messes up this one time and Roman do not accept it. He's going to tell them to destroy him. And they going to be reluctant. They are. But at the end of the day, he is the tribal chief. And they got to obey him. And they're going to rip him from limb. They're going to destroy Sami Zayn. It's going to be bad.
Do you think that's when? That's when Owens will reunite with him and make the save?
I don't think he's gonna make the save once he get destroyed, but I think he will make the save later on down the line because he has to be reluctant about it. He did say he don't want to be bothered with it no more, so we got to milk that.
I think that's gonna be. Yes, you're right. They do got to milk it, but I think there's gonna be my opinion. What they'll be sitting there, they'll be destroying him, like you said, and he is reluctant to go out there. Like they show him on camera, not really wanting to go, but he's watching and is kind of disturbed by it, and then eventually just goes and does it.
If you want to see a big eruption happen without the fake eruptions that be happening on TV, this is gonna be a real eruption.
Yeah.
Just brace yourself.
We had the Street Profits defeating Alpha Academy in 12 minutes when Ford pinned Gable after a frog splash.
Yeah, this was a solid tag team match. They got a lot of history. Great comeback for the Street Profits, and we continue to build the tag team division as we move forward with upcoming events that's happening for the unified WWE Tag Team Championships.
Did you see the new belts, or the rumored of the new belts that they were looking that they're supposedly going to be presented at some point?
No, I haven't. They gonna drop the dime belts?
That's the rumor that there's been talk about that for a long time, and then a picture surfaced online that this was the rumor that this is possibly the belts that they're replacing him with. I think they're pretty cool looking belts. If that is in fact the correct belts that they're going to be, because every time somebody says that the belts are changing, all of a sudden these mysterious designs start showing up. Some of them could be just designs that they what's the word that they refused to use in the past. You know what I mean? When they're presented. So, and then there's still photos, but if this is the correct belt, they're similar to like what the Intercontinental belt looked like, sort of looks like now, present. So, which I don't hate that design.
I'm down for the change.
Yeah.
We need to change. I'm getting tired of the pennies and the dimes.
See, I don't think those belts are that bad looking. Everybody hates them, but look at some of those older belts, and then
I think the problem was with is they're just all like silver. They don't got no color to them. It's just the belt, the color of the belt, and then it's just the dimes itself. They don't got no like WWE color logo on there or nothing.
Yeah, they don't have any personality.
It's just like the undisputed Universal WWE Championship.
That is definitely probably the worst belt that I've seen. I mean, even the spinner's better than that.
Yeah, I agree with it. I agree.
Yeah,
I always liked the undisputed WWE Championship from 2002.
The Brock Lesnar belt that he had,
the Brock Lesnar belt, that belt, and always the Ego belt.
They got rid of that undisputed belt like way too quick. I thought it was a very, very nice looking belt.
Yeah, they did. It was too fast. Too fast.
Austin Theory came out and bragged about winning the United States Championship. And then who interrupts but Seth Rollins and some of his wife's lingerie comes out. My thing is, what the fuck is Seth Rollins wearing, dude? He looked like he rummaged through Becky's sexy lingerie to wear down, and he comes out dressed so weird sometimes. But this took the cake, man.
Yeah, it did. It was very revealing. Something revealing that we did not want to see on our television, and hopefully he will never wear that again. But you know what? I'm not even gonna front. Randy Savage wore the same thing back in the day. And
wore that?
He wore something similar to that, and then you had Beefcake exposing himself as well.
Oh, Bruce God,
Beefcake. Yeah. So, our years of wrestling of being exposed to these guys, being exposed to our eyes, unfortunately.
One thing about this, he's Austin Theory out here celebrating that he won the belt. Seth comes out. He does not look upset at all about losing the title the night before or 2 nights before. He's rather chipper and just didn't seem like he was affected by losing the title at all, which I thought was just very, very strange.
Yeah, it was strange, but he did try to bait him into a fight, basically still calling him a kid and continuously call him a kid. But just like Austin Theory said, it's the champ's time. And whenever the action going to happen it's actually going to happen on his time. So we got this upcoming program between these two, which should be instant classic between these two. Austin Theory is real good. And Seth Rollins continues to be on top of his game as well as a babyface now. So look forward to these future matchups.
There's an anything goes match with Dexter Lumis and The Miz.
The only plus about this match was the vice grip on top of Dexter.
That was purely ridiculous. But
yeah, that's the only thing I remember.
I got to tell you that I don't hate The Miz. I think that he's actually very good, but he's been really getting annoying. But I think that's his job to get annoying to the fans. So I try not to let that. I feel like he's getting X-Pac heat in a way. You know what I mean? Like people just want him off their TV. and not because they're supposed to. It's just because they don't want to watch him at all.
Yeah, my guy has come a long way from the real world to being the WWE champion main event in WrestleMania 27 to being annoying as hell on television. Um, Whatever they fetch him, he does it, and he does it to the best ability. I don't blame him. So
Yeah.
this program for the last few weeks, maybe even months, it's just been draining. And Dexter Loomis has a contract now with money.
You see, he was handing $100 bills out to the kids.
Yeah,
So I was like, I wonder if those were plants at first, but I think
WWE could
the
afford it.
yeah. Oh yes, they could. That whole bag they could have. Um, but whatever the Miz is assigned, he does it. He does it happily. He does not care because he's like, dude, do you know how much money that dude makes? He makes a lot of fucking money. So
Absolutely.
I don't think he cares. I do like Dexter Loomis, but this was just wretched to watch. This whole entire thing, it really honestly did nothing for me.
Yeah, this program has, like I said, it didn't legit drained out everybody. They're tired of this program. So hopefully going forward is something entertaining from Dexter Loomis. Dexter Loomis, he has an easy job. He has a stone face. He's basically playing like a serial killer, American Psycho style. And and I respect it. But this program with the Miz, you would think on paper would be entertaining, but it's not.
There's been times I really just burst out laughing throughout this whole entire storyline.
Absolutely.
But as the time went on, I just started to get more and more like, oh God, please end
Especially
it.
when they added Johnny Gargano. When they added him, it made it even worse. They made
Isn't it
Johnny
his father?
Gargano, huh?
Isn't his father or whatever? What was the story in NXT where uh they were related somehow, right?
Oh yeah, they were related
Yeah.
somehow, and they in the wedding with I forgot her name, but yeah, it was a whole entertaining thing that was happening on NXT. I guess they tried to bring that to the main roster,
Yeah.
just with a little twist with the Miz, and it's just not working. Even when they did the little 60 minutes type episode where Johnny Gargano was trying to expose the Miz for setting this whole thing up. So,
We had Candice LeRae defeating Dakota Kai, 12-minute match. It was all right.
yeah, it was all right. It was solid. The Candice LeRae needed this win. Um, that's the system with Raw now. Like everybody's getting over 12 minutes of wrestling time, and certain ones don't deserve that much time. But
I could
it
tell you,
was great
yes.
time for the ladies. It was a good time for the ladies.
And we had the main event. It was Kevin Owens and Jey Uso. They went 22 minutes. I thought that this was a fantastic match. These guys worked a hell of a match.
Yes, they
Literally,
did.
hell of a match. I thought this was just one of those kind of, it was very convincing, kind of edge of your seat type matches. It was very good.
Yeah, they was in the dead hour, the third hour, but they made sure they spiced up the main event with these two great competitors. Main event Jey Uso and Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens with the win. But the bloodline continues to destroy Kevin Owens and build up to this Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns match, which Kevin Owens had Roman Reigns beat last Saturday. Correction, last Saturday he had him beat. So we continue the storyline and on our road to the Royal Rumble.
Do you like scary movies? What about science fiction and cult films? Then please visit Shocking Things. You can search for us on your favorite podcatcher. You can also go to anchor.fm/shockingthings for the main hub for the links to episodes and our social media. Now try and enjoy the daylight.
So AEW Dynamite, Wednesday night.
Dynamite.
Do we have Moxley start off the show?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had Moxley kick off the show. He come in with the promo and said that he's better than anybody in the world, whether they're in the backstage area where they 100 miles away, and then we get a surprise. We get Hangman Page with the return after his concussion that he had from Jon Moxley a few weeks ago, and it started hot on Dynamite.
Yeah. I didn't really. At least he didn't come out wearing butterflies on his jeans.
Well, him wanting to fight Jon Moxley, you will hope that he wouldn't have no butterfly on his jeans. But this time he was ready to fight with no butterflies, and that's good. That's good enough for me. Even with Jon Moxley, he almost took a spill on the side of the ramp. The action was spilled on the side. It was a very funny moment, but still, like, I guess this is going to be the road for what's the next? Well, we far away from Revolution.
Yeah,
I guess it's for a special.
Winter is coming in 2 weeks, I believe, which is it's a TV special of Dynamite, and I think their next pay-per-view is a Ring of Honor pay-per-view, which is a Final Battle. So I don't know. I'm trying to remember here. I could probably look it up. So
no, that's the next one. That's the next one. Ring of Honor. I don't count that, but that's the next one.
I'm trying to remember properly, but we ended up this match. They put this on first. I mean, goddamn, this really got the crowd going. It was Bryan Danielson and Dax Harwood. Bryan Danielson forced him to submit. I could not. This is Dax Harwood. This just goes to show you what kind of wrestler this guy is. He wanted a match with Danielson. They put him on TV, wrestling him. And this is the first ever time. Now, mind you, they were in two different companies together for a very long time together. And they got this match here opening up AEW Dynamite, or the first match on the show, excuse me. And this just back and forth for I don't have the time, but it went back and forth for, probably 15 minutes or so. And these guys just showed what kind of class of wrestlers that these guys are. Danielson has always been, the last 20 years, one of the greatest wrestlers in the entire world, but this put Dax way up there by showing that he can do this.
Yeah, it has. Dax Harwood continue to be the candidate for Wrestler of the Year in 2022, along with others. And this was a very good opener between the two. First time ever between these two as well. Dax Harwood has some classics with CM Punk lately, with his own partner as well. He has been on a tear, a legit tear. I want to put the tag team titles aside from different promotions. I just want to put that aside. He has been on a tear singles wise this year, and this was a great opener with Danielson tapping out Hardwood. And it was great.
What do you think about during the AEW pay-per-view of Cash tweeting out, basically asking why they weren't booked, saying why they weren't booked, and sharing a picture of one of their better matches in NXT during that?
Yeah. Hey, they ain't lying. Why they not on the card? I understand a lot of people cannot be on the card. I respect that fully.
These guys hold tag titles in 3 different companies, right?
Yes, they do.
All right, then.
But then, not only that, other people on the card that did not deserve to be on the card. Certain matches that did not deserve to be. Yeah, we talked about that. Like we talked about that briefly last Saturday, as we talked about all the matches that he had on full gear that did not need to be on there.
Yeah. We won't talk about that any further until the next pay-per-view, and then we tell you who shouldn't be on this show.
Matter of fact, that's going to be the next. Matter of fact, going forward with all AEW pay-per-view events, we're going to make a list of matches that should not be on the card.
That's a good idea. And for one of the things is the roster is so deep, it's that they don't. I believe that Tony tries to spotlight certain people that should not necessarily, not to say that they don't deserve it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's that you have other people that are top stars or champions or what have you that should be on your damn show. Do you remember when Vince was not, Shinsuke was not on for months and months and months, and he was the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah.
Then he shows up randomly on a pre-show, and that was the first time we'd seen him in 5 months.
5 months, yeah, you're correct.
So this is very similar in that way. It's like Tony hires these guys. They're his action figures, basically. And when he gets 6 of them, he puts them in the box, basically catering. So, and then, he pulls out other guys. Moxley, he hasn't gotten tired of yet. MJF, he hasn't gotten tired of yet. So, you see my point here?
Never got tired of
Get
it.
Jericho. Yeah. I think Jericho's in his ear, I think. But,
yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. So, that's pretty much that story. I think that FTR should be on. And I'm not saying they should be on every single show.
Yeah, we're not saying that.
Yeah, they should get their time on television and on at least on pay-per-views, but they don't need to be on every Dynamite or Rampage. They should at least be on, the pay-per-views, I think.
That's correct.
At least I would tune in just because they were on. Most cases.
They should at least have a spot on the card against any team that's within that rank. And you have one tag team championship match, which was fine. But then you have a random one, which is Sting and Darby versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
That could have been on the pre-show.
Yeah, it could have been on a Dynamite. If you want to push the rating, it could have been on Dynamite. Mm-hmm. But it just more, I have been watching Dynamite since day one, and they do have their negatives. I'm not one of those people where I sit here and I'm like, yeah, AEW is always the golden nugget. It's not. It's basically have its negatives as well, and I could name a lot of them, and that's one of them.
Well, that's with either company or all the companies, I should say. But we could sit and that's our job. Or we come out here and we analyze it. So we're going to tell you what shouldn't happen or is not proper. So, and we're going to tell you what works. Half the time, I'm going to tell you there's a lot of filler on AEW TV, especially with backstage segments.
Yeah, it is. It is uncalled for.
Yes,
segments.
Random. You bring Louis Primo or whatever, the pizza maker out. 3 weeks, whatever. Did you see that guy come out making the pizzas? You there?
Huh?
Yeah. All right. You froze for a second there.
Yeah, man.
All right. Now you're back.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why.
But... Yeah. We'll edit that part out. That's all right.
But they had Pizza Primo looking crazy in Philadelphia in the ring, looking evil, like an evil what was it? Mario and Luigi, looking like an evil Luigi.
There you go. So we're back from break. Hangman Page is being escorted from the building. Jon Moxley runs in, and the brawl continues with Page chucking Moxley into the garage door.
Yeah, they showed a fight in the backstage. It continues. It's not like, they just sat here and decided to walk to their car as friends. They decided to battle to the back, all the way outside the building. There's a lot of heat here, and obviously is called for. Jon Moxley mistakenly knocked Hangman Page head off and injured him for a few weeks. But now Hangman Page, I just want to put this out here before we go to the next segment. Hangman Page really needs this win. So if they are going to put Hangman Page versus Moxley, he really needs this one. He really needs to beat Moxley. And I feel like they should give him that win.
I think you're right that it's long overdue. The guy really hasn't had a significant win since, I think, God knows. I mean, since his title win, really.
Since his title win. Yes, his title reign.
So he's been fizzling in and out, going in and out, and it's just nothing significant since. Has he even competed regularly? I don't think so, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's crazy because it seems like it was so long ago.
Yeah, it was long ago, and wrestling time flies, and
yes,
he just ultimately needs to beat Moxley. He don't beat Moxley, I don't know what's going on backstage.
But that's Tony Khan's favorite action figure, so most likely he's going to beat everybody. So just remember, go in thinking that that's a very big possibility that could happen.
Yeah, if that does happen, my guy has been done wrong.
Yeah. This segment was I think that this segment was atrocious. Renee Paquette was interviewing the Jericho Appreciation Society and the Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. This seemed like it was heavily, heavily edited. together.
Yeah,
Just pieced, and Claudio got frustrated and left. And it was just there was no reason for this. I thought it was just this absolutely did nothing.
it did nothing. I guess they tried to build to
Yeah.
Ring of Honor final battle, and I just truthfully, I'm to this point now. I can't wait until they hopefully find a TV deal. If not, I don't even care. I'm getting tired of seeing Ring of Honor on television. This is AEW
Oh,
television. You're trying to build your own brand that you sat
yes.
here and put money into, and I just don't understand that.
I mean, do you think at Final Battle Claudio is going to be defeating Jericho for the title?
I don't think so.
No.
I think you still need Jericho as that face to get that TV deal. I
Yeah.
mean, but still, like, it's getting to the point now. Like, how many? What? We almost a year now.
That's a good question. It's probably been well over a year since he's purchased
Yeah,
Ring of
it's
Honor.
like almost a year. I think it's almost a year because he brought it when the Supercard Honor. I think it was Supercard Honor. I think.
So it's roughly a year. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, come on, dude. Like, we gotta figure this. Like, what you gonna do with the brand? Is either you gonna sit there and unify the titles and just make it AEW for now on or something, because you can't do it as a separate. He could do it as a separate brand, but the thing is, you don't got a television deal. If you don't got that, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, you just sitting here wasting mega TV time instead of just showing your brand of AEW that you legit paid for. You built this brand.
This is a completely different brand, Ring of Honor brand than to the brand that it was, than as to what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So, trying to find the date of when that actually was. I think it was. Let's see if this is it right here. Hang on. It was April 1st was Supercard of Honor. So he had purchased it months before. So
Yeah,
probably, so it's roughly
like
a
around
year.
January. It was like around January before December, because I remember they was at Daly's place when they announced that. And usually in the beginning of the year they go to Daly's place.
And when they purchased it, Supercard of Honor was already set from the previous owners. It was already set up and all that other stuff. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. So let's see, where am I going here? AR Fox and Samoa Joe.
Yeah, for the TNT Championship, and Samoa Joe, the Ring of Honor television champion. So he says he's the king of television after this match, but he came up with the win against AR Fox, which I know as well. He wrestled for PAPW one time, and also a veteran of the Indies. So, but he showed off what he showed off within the 6 minutes that they had, and Samoa Joe destroyed him and continued to be that dominant force in AEW. But like he said, he's the king of television until Wardlow popped on the screen. It was saying that he owes Samoa Joe one, and he want to challenge him for the TNT Championship and the ROH Television Championship.
We also had a video package of Powerhouse Hobbs, and then Taz shows everybody highlights of Hook defending the FTW title against Lee Moriarty. Now he countered Moriarty's red rum, or countered Moriarty basically with a wrist lock into the, and that's it. So we had in the AEW World Champion MJF come out, cut a promo. They revealed a new belt.
Yeah, the Burberry.
Yeah, disrespected Bruno Sammartino and every other world champion. A lot of people had problems with him disrespecting Bruno Sammartino, saying he's going to be the longest world. He called him something. I don't remember exactly what, but my thing is people that are upset about him disrespecting Bruno. It's a story. He's basically trying to draw heat. I thought it worked perfectly. Well, with the exception of the fact that every time he says something, people cheer for him instead of boo him.
Exactly.
He gets the opposite effect, and he's supposed to be the ultimate heel. The belt, it does not look like anything. However, it does not look like a Burberry. It's just very, it didn't take effect. Whoever designed it. You get what I'm saying? It's like very light. You have to look at it very closely. However, the brown leather strap,
it truly
brown
looked
leather
like
strap,
the NWA Championship, the
yeah.
brown strap.
I thought the brown leather strap looks way better than the black strap.
Yeah,
I think
it
it looks
does.
very nice, but if you look at it, then it's supposed to be that like plaid design, but you really got to look
You
closely
gotta
at it.
look real hard.
Yeah. So I didn't know, but everybody were like, "Oh, he reveals the new championship." I'm like, "What's the difference?" And then,
There's no
then once I looked at it, and then of course he turns his back on William Regal, blames him for not hiring him for NXT 7 years ago, and rumor is that this is them writing Regal out, and he's going back to the WWE. I guess I want to know what exactly, because there's a lot of different confusion as to what his contract was. First, I heard that it was for well over a year. Then I heard that it was he has an option to just go get out of his contract and go work back at WWE. Because I guess what I heard today, I believe, was that when Tony Khan brought him in, he was they knew that he could leave and go back to WWE. That it when he got fired from WWE or released, that he knew he was going to go back at some point. So there was not one of those things where he was fired permanently. So it could have just been worked into his contract that he could leave at any time.
Yeah, this was a very surprising segment after all the build and stuff we went through with him doing the turn on Moxley, and then for Moxley to tell him to turn around, don't come back last Dynamite, to here he get knocked out from behind. He built a bigger villain that he wanted from MJF, and he got knocked out in the back of the head. But it's crazy, man. I heard that as well. Like, he may have had a clause in his contract saying that he may go to WWE if Triple H was back in power. How did we know that he was going to be back in power? Was that ever a plan that was going forward once he got released? We don't know. Only time would tell. But this is his year is almost up as well. He came in at Revolution, which is always at February. So he got a few more months left, but this is kind of early for them to knock him out the game. And this is big news. This kind of like messed up a lot of storylines that we had coming forward with William Regal and MJF, which MJF do not need William Regal like that on him as a mouthpiece. He does not. I kind of felt, as well as other complaints that I've heard from people, this segment went way too long. There was no reason for it to go as long as it's supposed to. I don't know what creative control MJF has. I respect it, whatever he did to get the time that he needs, but these promos are real too long. It's like an indie promo. You ever have those indie promos that be sitting there, they be going forever, and you're like, come on, dude, like. You don't really have to grab the mic and talk for like 30 minutes. You don't. Yeah. So this what it felt like. This was a throwback for me.
I thought it was a pretty good segment, with the exception of it going long. And Regal was only with him for about 2 weeks, huh? Probably, right?
I don't even count 2 weeks, because Chicago, he wasn't even there. William Regal did it himself. So I would say just for a cup of coffee.
Literally.
Yeah.
So we had Ricky Starks defeat Arya Daivari. That was basically a squash match. It was nothing crazy. Then we had Willow Nightingale defeated Anna Jay. This is a fun match, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, nothing crazy. It was a solid match, and Willow Nightingale continued to be the most popular thing, one of the most popular things on AEW television, and it's going to be a good future for her in this promotion, hopefully, because there's so many women on the roster that don't get used or don't get used right. So hopefully she has a good future ahead of her. But we did have a surprise return. We had Ruby Soho make her return after her injury.
Yeah, and she threw a somewhat nice headbutt there. Damn, who was it? I'm trying to look at my notes here.
Ty Conti. Ty Mello.
Thank you very much. There you go. So she made the save. She came out and brawled up the ramp and then threw a nice headbutt at Ty Conti.
Yeah, we gonna build up to this feud that we gonna keep continuing, I guess, to hopefully get her due of the injury that happened to her nose. So it's a great new addition added to the women's division because we needed her badly as we're kind of light on the side of the women's division.
Tracy Smothers, Harley Race, Tim Storm, Bushwhacker Luke, Bobby Fulton. The Pro Wrestling Vault, Volume 1, Bill Dundee, Supermex Hernandez, C.W. Anderson, Ricky Morton, Sir Mo, and many others share their stories of determination, triumph, and sorrow. Get your book today at Russellville.com or at Amazon.com. Russellville, it's where wrestling lives.
Jade Cargill come out and celebrate.
Another terrible segment.
I thought this was atrocious.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's writing what.
This was when, but not just this, but the whole show kind of took a left during this segment. It was just like, Jesus, I wanted to shut this shit off and just not go back to it. So she came out, celebrated, and then of course, I don't think that she could talk very well as far as promo.
She's all right. She's solid.
Not here. I didn't think that this was. I didn't really think here was because it was
way too long as well. She just said her little tidbits, and for her to sit here and put the signal of Bow Wow, and then all of a sudden he pops up like he sat on the satellite. It looked like it was taped. So it was taped.
You look like it must have been taped, but now they're building up towards this. We're going to see this at a pay-per-view. He's going to go in there and wrestle a woman on pay-per-view.
First of all, Bow Wow hasn't been relevant, and I don't even know when. Probably since he was a little ass kid. And I hate to be cursing on here, but yeah, it's been probably more than that. Because
really?
Probably since 2003 or 2. I don't even know. Since he was dancing as a toddler. No, he wasn't a toddler, but I'm just saying when he was small, dancing in front of the spinners. That's the last time I kind of figured Bow Wow was even like relevant. And this program right here, it's not doing nothing good for AEW. It's not doing anything good for Jade Cargill. And I feel like it's a waste of time. It's not like it's making the tabloids. What, Hot 97? That's what's making it on?
Well, my wife mentioned it to me actually. What the first appearance she had read, it was after the pay-per-view, so it was last week sometime that she saw online. She never sees any wrestling related material, so obviously I think he's the guy that got her the attention. She doesn't have anything come across her timeline, so
exactly.
She thought it was legit. And I was like, "There's no way."
It was at the concert. They showed up at his concert, and that's when I knew it was like a legit work because you don't just pop up at somebody's concert and in the backstage and start acting stupid. You get escorted real quick. That don't even you can't even get to the star these days. So it was just it's just a program that just don't need to happen unless he's gonna sit here and grab Kara Hogan as his backup to take up for him. I don't see any. I don't even want to see this as a intergender match. I don't at all.
I don't. No.
I will drink a lot of drinks if that even happened.
I think that what she's gonna do is go out there and do like one of those not spin kicks, that fucking like the brogue kick or whatever, nail him right in the face and then pin him. If that's what you need to do, if that's what's gonna happen. I'd pay $100 just to see that once.
I would too. I would. Yeah. Throw him to the table too. Why not? Y'all like to use
why not? Why not? Maybe he just won't come out. I mean, he's doing this, it's getting him some attention. Like you said, he hasn't been relevant in how many years, but people know who he is again. Now he's out there. So we had the Elite out of the best of 7 series, defeating the Death Triangle of Pac and the Lucha Brothers. Now it is the Elite with 2 wins to 1.
Yeah, they got a W last Wednesday on Dynamite, and this was a different type of matchup. It was brawling all over the place. They started hot on the ramp, a lot of super kicks, a lot of V triggers, and a lot of teasing of the hammer, which I kind of got confused because Phoenix used it and accepted that fact that he used it in the first match. And then all of a sudden he disagrees with Pentagon using it. There's some storytelling that's kind of like flip floppy, but if you want a match where it was just nut but spots and spots on top of spots, which Rick Del Santos loved from the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
And Jim Cornette is rolling around in his bed right now.
I'd love to hear his review on this.
Listen, after the fact of him criticizing the men's war games about people just standing around looking like they're dead and all this other stuff and saying that they would have got fired back in the day, I could imagine what he said about this match.
This, like you said, it was a pretty good brawl all over the place. The whole thing, they were Penta was teasing the hammer and Phoenix was, no, after he used it in the first match. So it was a little bit confusing. Then, of course, he got nailed with the V trigger while the two were arguing. So it's one of those things like, were they going to tease a split between the Lucha Brothers in a way? Obviously, maybe not, but maybe they were just part of the match. But I thought this was a rather interesting match. But a best of 7, this was probably the worst one out of the 3 so far.
Yeah, it really was. It was. And now we got a break between Wonders is coming, so they're going to take their little break and then return back to match 4.
I think when they do match number 7, that's when they're going to put their all into it.
I would hope so.
And that's
I would think that. Either that or 6 or 7.
It's when they're going to go out there. They're just going to have spot after spot just working like crazy.
Yeah. And I'm going to look at you after that and ask you, how was this match, Rick, with your favorite tag team, the Young Bucks?
Oh, God. Jesus. Or as can I call them, the Cucamonga Kids.
The Harley Boys.
Yeah, the Harley Boys.
And Kenny Olivier.
What do they call him? Was it finger fuck finger bang?
Jim Cornette has his hits with these guys.
He does. And I listen to his show, and it's a good laugh. And it's not that I agree with a lot of what he says. A lot of people think that he's just old fashioned, but there's about 98% I agree with what his opinions on professional wrestling today. I honestly do. I am very old school, very old fashioned when it comes to watching professional wrestling. I don't like the goofy shit or the spot fest or I don't mind Kenny Omega these days. Like, he's not out there wrestling a blow up doll on national TV anymore. Maybe in Japan, but
that's long gone.
And he's past that. So I think that he's come out here. He's had a lot of really great matches since coming, on national TV in the United States.
Yeah, he has, and I feel like the Young Bucks have too in certain situations when they have to. I know you disagree with that, Rick, but when they was in the ring with FTR, they had a few.
Oh, that's FTR though.
That is FTR. You're right. That's FTR. But I'm kind of an old school guy too, but I do understand the wrestling business change.
Yes.
And but there's certain times where it'd be too much. It'd be like, come on, like really. So this match was one of them where certain spots I was like, come on, y'all just don't give a damn. Y'all just trying to y'all just doing whatever now.
I don't like all the gimmicky stuff. Like, there's too many gimmicks and too much. I don't even like hardcore stuff or like deathmatch stuff. It's just I like like the Danielson and Dax Harwood match. I thought that was a perfect match, but
absolutely,
that's just me. You know what I mean? But I also understand that professional wrestling. I also understand that professional wrestling is like a variety show. You need different stuff on going forward. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have the same match 5 matches in a row and then just that's it. You do
Yeah.
need variety.
Yeah, you do, and we got a few more matches left of this right here. So we asked for the trios championships, and now we got them.
We had WWE Smackdown last night.
Yes.
We started with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn coming out, and the crowd went absolutely nuts.
Yeah, they're the most popular thing in all of wrestling. I mean, you could at me at Showtime, like it says right here.
You might
At Showtime, Marcel.
You may be right. I was at work yesterday, and then there was an old lady wearing a Bloodline shirt. Not kidding.
Nice.
So I was like, "Wait a second, what?" Okay, I was. That's good.
That's it. That's it. We made it.
So it's over. So
yeah, we made it.
We had it Sami Zayn and Sheamus, which this was somewhat fun. Now, I haven't since when we were off. Not had some time off. I wasn't keeping up on a lot of stuff, so I wasn't watching Raw or SmackDown. But since we came back, I started watching it again full time, rather not just skipping through it. And it seems like the Sami Zayn and Sheamus, to me, this wasn't bad. But it seemed like the majority of the match, the crowd was just not into it. Am I mistaken?
I'm glad you said that because as we move forward to later on in the show, I kind of feel like the crowd in general. I don't know what's going on with the crowd lately. I don't know whether to blame COVID. I don't know whether the wrestling itself getting watered down and just people just don't understand, or I don't know what's going on. But it's just to the point now that like the fans started sitting on their hands. And even for a good match, I mean, I don't want to rewind all the way back to Dynamite, but they was actually hyped up for the Dax Harwood versus Bryan Danielson match. You actually seen them; they was excited about it. But there's certain matchups that they do not click for. I don't know whether they just drained out, but the SmackDown just started, so it's like, okay, well, like what's going on? But it was a good match. It was a good opener for SmackDown. I enjoyed it.
I've been to an AEW taping, as has you, and you realize you're there for hours. You're probably there for 2 hours before they go live on Dynamite because they record dark, I think, or Elevation, one of the two.
Yeah.
So you're there for quite a while before the show actually goes live. So, yeah, I could see how people are tired before it actually goes on air.
Absolutely. You know, going through like 3 or 4 matches.
Yeah.
Because Dark Elevation is like what, like probably like an hour. And then you got like what they recorded like main event. It was just probably like the last WWE event I went to, main event, they was recording like what, 2 matches, 3 matches.
I think the last WWE I went to was last year. I went to a SmackDown last year, the 2 days before Survivor Series last year. And obviously, they don't record main event there. They record it during Raw, but they just had a dark match beforehand, and then they had a dark match after SmackDown went off the air. So they only had one match to try to fight.
The dark match is draining as well. Because you're like, okay, I got to stay here longer to watch. You really don't have to watch it.
Well, the dark match, the main event dark match was the Bloodline against the New Day and Drew McIntyre. Was that when like Kofi was out or Xavier was out? Yeah. So it was like that was the so it was pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, it was. So, I enjoyed it. Sami Zayn with the W though.
Yeah. I thought it was funny that he was going for the series. He was going to go for the series of whatever on the chest, pounding the chest, and then Sheamus caught him and just started elbowing him right now. It was kind of clever, very clever.
And they continue to build Solo as a monster. Like
he don't give a shit about nothing. He
don't give a shit about nothing.
He's not going to embrace his cousin or his brothers, rather. He's not going to embrace Sammy. He's just going to stand there serious and do his fucking job.
Yep.
So, hang on, I'm bringing it down there from. We ended up, obviously, the main event. We're going to go into that later on, but it is Santos Escobar and Ricochet for the World Cup. We'll get
Yeah,
into that later.
before we go to the next segment, I like the way they built up with these two, showing their videos of their work and building up with the interviews of. It's just like that retro building up of a main event that's coming up,
Yeah.
and they really made everything look important for this World Cup final.
Megan Moran spoke with Kofi. He said he's entering the Royal Rumble this year. Here's some news for you, Kofi. It's next year. I know we're a month away, but it's next year. I guess was it Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser approached, and Kingston stood up for himself, but noted Xavier Woods wasn't there tonight. He challenged one of them to a single match when Gunther showed up and accepted instead.
Yeah, he accepted instead, and Kofi was like, "Where was you at? Sitting behind the corner somewhere? Like I didn't even see you." So, Kofi kind of like had some second thoughts, like, "Dang, I'm about to get destroyed tonight."
I wouldn't want to. I'd get one of those chops. So.
Yeah, especially after Kofi chest when you see how his chest looked from the Big Show from years ago. So you can imagine what Gunther go do them.
Then we had Bray Wyatt speaking backstage. He compared himself to animals fighting to survive. And then he promised he didn't hurt LA Knight. As they showed clips of Knight injured, Wyatt repeated that he didn't hurt Knight and that he heard them. Did I say that right? And then he noted that if he attacked Knight, then we would know. So basically, I thought this was a weird segment. Sort of weird. Hear him speak at this level.
Yeah, they've been kind of weird lately. I don't. What you really think of Bray Wyatt run so far since he has returned? I want to get your opinion on that.
I don't yet. It's really just it's sort of confusing because now he's in here like he's just this normal dude in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not the Fiend or Bray Wyatt, the cult leader, the Cape Fear or Robert De Niro like character type. You get what I'm saying there?
Mm-hmm.
So he's not either of those. He's just like a guy, and like he's obviously like he was hanging around backstage. So it wasn't like before. It was just his previous characters each had something like really eerie and very confusing. So this was just I haven't been fully like it hasn't fully done anything for me yet. I'm still waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, me too. I guess this is one of those slow burns that sooner or later he's gonna change into a different person. So this is the build, and I like the way LA Knight is showing himself off since that big change from that model bullcrap that he was going through. So,
I like that they gave him his gimmick back, that they're letting him come back as a wrestler and as LA Knight, because that dude could talk, and he's a hell of a wrestler too. I've been a fan of his since he was in Impact and stuff. So,
and he has the look.
Yes, and he's a hell of a fucking talker on the mic, man. He's great. All right, so we ended up having Shayna Baszler and Emma. No comment. This match was 4 minutes long. There's really nothing to speak about.
Nah, there's nothing to speak about. I really didn't like it. I am going to talk about the next, since we're going to skip this match. Nothing against the ladies. I just didn't like this match. It was just a build to, I guess, Raquel versus Shayna Baszler, and continue to build to Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey being together as the original Four Horse Women.
Yep.
But as we go into the next segment, which was Lacey Evans, they trying to repackage her again and probably do it the right way, showing her do some Army stuff, some Marine training, and talk about her history and all that stuff, and saying that the journey starts now. So I like the way they did this. They really, instead of having her in a dark room that Aleister Black used to be in,
they threw her in the closet. Right?
Yeah, in the closet somewhere with some lights. They took her out of that and decided to put her on the military field and do some drills. And I enjoyed this. It was very interesting. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they redo Lacey Evans.
They really need to do something with her because it's like they've been since she's returned since the having the child. It's like she's been kind of lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, they were trying to build her up and as a baby face, and then all of a sudden somebody changed their mind and flip sided, and then she became a heel. And then she was off TV for a few weeks because I guess they had to figure something out. But I just like the way this promo package was put together. It seemed like it was some real good work put into it, and it seemed like it's going to be some storytelling to build up her character like it's supposed to have been a few months ago.
Hey, do you like the show you're listening to? You might also like this show. That's right, if you're in the mood for a radio show that does the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, today, and whatever sounds good in the pop and rock world, try out Unlikely Places Pop and Rock Radio. Your host, Final Man Jeb. We've had guests such as Joey Molland of Badfinger, John Pobey of The Pretty Things, Andy Kahn of The Turtles, and many others on the podcast side. But on the radio side, every Tuesday at 6 p.m. GMT here on Mad Wasp Radio. That's 1 p.m. Eastern and 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, PT. You can check out Unlikely Places Pop and Rock Radio here on madwaspradio.com. Come chat with us on Twitter at Unlikely Places Radio. Unlikely Places is brought to you by RoboJack Records and madwaspradio.com.
Plug into
Mad Wasp Radio.
We had Intercontinental Champion Gunther defeating Kofi Kingston. It looked as if it's very strange for me to say, but I did enjoy this, and I was just, Kofi got some time in, some moves in here and there, but it was the majority of it was Gunther beating the shit out of him like he does. But if I was WWE, I would have had him go out there and literally annihilate Kofi because that's just Walter's style.
My guy, Kofi is the former WWE champion.
I know, but he's way smaller.
You're right. But
he's tiny compared. I know he's a WWE champion. I love Kofi. Don't get me wrong. I think that. Yeah, I mean,
I understand you. Gunther.
You should have had him trying to. You should have had him trying to avoid Gunther.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. A lot of the time, and just when he got his hands on him, just literally beating the crap out of him.
Yeah, he did, and I kind of felt they did give it a little extra time, but you can't go in there and squash a former WWE champion. I gotta give him some respect.
Hold up, they did that shit to Pedro Morales back in the 80s. They did that shit to let's see who else? Bob Backlund.
They did.
Bruno. Yeah. What did you think about the Damage Control segment?
I'll pass.
Okay, thank you. I really I was watching it on my laptop and I just took my headphones off during that time period. So good thing.
The only thing was the re-debut of Tegan Knox, and that even went off the rails as well. So I just want to pass.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It did definitely. I had no interest. It did nothing for me whatsoever. So we ended up having the World Cup Finals. Ricochet defeated Santos Escobar. I really honestly thought this could go the other way around. So I thought it could have been him. But I thought that this was very, very good. I think that this match was basically fire. Okay, let's just say
it was fire. It was electric. It took a while for the crowd to get into it because I guess something happened in the crowd, off the camera. But as it started building along, going through 2 commercial breaks, they got fully invested. They was making some noise. You had people standing, taking pictures with their phone, even from the Hurricanrana from outside off the rail, even from the big Hurricanrana when Ricochet landed on his feet behind Santos. All around, this was a good match. 2 great young performers. And this is what it's all about as in WWE trying to push young talent now. And this was one of the examples of having 2 young guys. Well, they're not young, but they're in their prime, trying to make it happen, trying to be big stars and make a name for themselves. And they did it right here, prime time on SmackDown, in a good 20-minute Broadway. Wasn't a draw, but a good Broadway. A good Broadway to me. It was like almost 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was a lot of action in this matchup. I thought it was very, very good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Ricochet with the win. Now we're gonna have the rematch. The former Intercontinental Champion Ricochet versus Gunther.
I'm not looking forward to that. Let's pray for Ricochet.
Yeah, he'll get slaughtered.
Yeah. All right. That's pretty much what we've got for you this week. So is there anything else you want to throw in there before we get out of here?
No, just stay tuned. We'll be back here next Saturday, 6:05.
6:05. We're gonna have a lot of stuff to come back. I just want to let you know, anybody that's this week, I will be appearing on the Alliance blog on YouTube. So go check out that Thursday night, 8 p.m. It will be live on YouTube. So look forward to that. I'm really looking forward to it. It's trying to get me to get anytime we tried to schedule me going on there, I've just always been I'm working, but I'm actually available, so I'm ready. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be going and talking about the weekly NWA program. So keep an eye out for that next Thursday.
And also, I understand that we're not live. We only go be live for the big pay-per-view events. And we will go on forward doing that. And if you want to leave email for questions or anything like that, please visit pwzpodcast.com. Leave a question, and we'll read it every Saturday at 6:05.
Absolutely. That's live after every pay-per-view. Probably. So what's that? Maybe once, twice a month, maybe?
Yeah.
So, yeah, something like that. And yeah, we've been discussing a lot of really great stuff off air and behind the scenes. So, guys, we got a lot of really great stuff coming up in the future. So, make sure you tune in each and every Saturday right here. And thank you very much. We'll see you next week.